Hello, Mr. Havenhand here. I'm going to be talking through the answers to the pages of the packs you've been sent home with, just so that you've got something you can listen to and watch, which might be easier to help you mark your own work than just looking at a set of model solutions. So let's dive straight in at this page about expanding brackets. You can see up in the example here we've got the factorized form, and when we expand it, it ends up looking like this. You'll notice there's no brackets, and if we do the opposite of that, that's called factorizing, and that's when we end up taking out a common factor and having brackets involved again. Okay, but we're going to be focusing on expanding. I'm not going to go through all of these on the video, but I'll edit the video so that the answers will appear, so if you want to pause and mark your work, that's fine. I'm just going to go through a few key questions. So let's start with this first one. This is the way I do it. You don't have to do it the same way, but I find it helps. So I always draw in a loop between each term that I'm timesing together. So I'm going to times 3 by x, and that'll give me 3x. No other way I can write that any more simply. Then I'm going to times by the next term, 3 times, and when I do this bit, I look at that, and I look at the sign in front of it, and I think about the whole thing. Positive 3 times positive 2, and that'll give me positive 6. And the reason I would advise doing that is because when it comes to negatives, it will avoid you making a mistake if we have a negative sign here and also a negative sign in front of the number outside the bracket. Okay, so 3x plus 6 is the expanded form. So I'll just do the other ones. You can pause and mark your work once these are on screen. Okay, on this one, we have a negative in the bracket, and that's okay. Let's do it as we normally would do anyway. So 2 times x will give us 2x, and 2 lots of negative 3. Now this is a positive 2 at the front here. Positive times a negative is going to give us a negative, and 2 times 3 gives us 6. It's the only difference. Now these ones where you've got the letter as the second term in the bracket, it doesn't really matter. It doesn't matter where the letter appears. I suppose we're used to having it as the first term in these earlier questions, but we just follow the same process. So just do what we've already been doing. 6 times 9, 54. And then 6 lots of y would be 6y. And because we're timesing a positive by a negative, it's going to be negative 6y. Okay, these ones on the right hand side column are only different in that they have a number in front of the x inside the bracket, and that's called a coefficient. If you've got a number in front of a letter in algebra, it's called a coefficient. We would still do the same thing though. So when we times 4 by 7x, the x has already been times by 7. The only thing we can do when we then times that by 4 is times the two numbers together. So 4 lots of 7 give us 28. And we've still got the x there, so that would give us 28x. And 4 lots of 5 would give me 20.